A new state law raises questions about the role of police and the best way to maintain safety inside schools. The rules for school resource officers have changed. Legislation approved last session prohibits officers from using some physical holds and restraints, but that has raised questions with some agencies deciding to pull officers out of schools. Emily Haugen spoke with local police chiefs and has more.
In schools, a resource officer can be a bridge.
Schools in general are microcosms of our community.
In those spaces, an SRO can also be a mediator.
There's mental health situations, there's fights, there's crimes, all those things needing a first responder and or police officer.
Brooklyn Park Police Chief Mark Bruley says his department has officers in its upper-level schools. Officers are trained to use force if necessary.
For some schools, we didn't have any incidents last year. In other schools, we had 2 or 3 use of force incidents in the entire year.
Very infrequent.
In Maple Grove, Police Chief Eric Werner sees similarly low numbers. He credits that to an SRO presence.
And what we're trying to do is through those relationships and collaboration, hopefully we don't have to use force.
Minnesota's sweeping education bill now says officers can't use prone restraint or other physical holds on students unless someone's life is at risk.
I'm trying to understand what were we trying to solve with this change.
Governor Walz spoke in favor of the legislation in mid-August.
I certainly think we should all agree that we should not kneel on the necks of students unless someone's life is at risk, and that is written into the law to be able to do that.
Officers across the state, including Werner's office, were confused.
So we're trying to use the least amount of force as possible. Now we have this higher standard of force and we have a second standard.
The police chiefs we spoke with's main concern, law enforcement, was not consulted.
We have a piece of legislation that was made without involvement of public safety, particularly our associations.
Officers also say the guideline isn't clear.
They were so confusing, so poorly written that they were impossible to interpret what the impact was.
The Minnesota Chiefs of Police Association asked the state to clarify. Attorney General Keith Ellison shared an opinion clarifying that bill. He says officers, quote, may use reasonable force to restrain a student to prevent bodily harm or death to the student or another, unquote.
Without the Attorney General's opinion, I would not have sent SROs back into the school.
Bruley says this clarification is helpful, but it doesn't solve everything.
The law has to be rewritten, to be honest with you. The truth is, they should be doing it right now in a special session. That's what should happen.
Now, police chiefs are asking for more clarity in cases of state law violations that don't risk bodily harm or death.
Less than a week before school starts, get them retrained in what those standards are.
The school year is almost here, and some officers are still deciding.
We've committed to keeping our SRO program. However, we met with our SROs as of yesterday, and we're waiting to see if they want to make the decision to return to the schools.
And for some, not returning is a possibility. Emily Haugen, CCX News.
Meanwhile, one area college is seeing a boost in student enrollment. North Hennepin Community College reports a 13% increase in new students for this year. It also reports 27% more students returning for more classes after already getting a degree. During the pandemic, numbers at colleges, including North Hennepin, dwindled. Interim Provost Julio Vargas Essex says this growth makes him optimistic.
Seeing those students come back and take courses from us and transfer on to other four-year institutions, I think is promising, not just for our institution, but also for the community and state as a whole.
In Brooklyn Center, construction is underway for a permanent Daunte Wright Memorial. It will be located at the intersection of 63rd Avenue North and Catherine Drive. That's the spot near where Wright was shot and killed by former Brooklyn Center officer Kim Potter during a traffic stop. Designs for the memorial include a metal portrait of Wright, a tribute display, and a planter. The project is expected to take 6 weeks to complete. A family in Crystal is organizing a first-of-its-kind event to spread the word about something not many people know much about. It affects their little girl, and they figure the more we all know, the better off we all might be.
Just put a branch right down there and hang stuff up.
Step foot in Kira and Ava Johnson's backyard in Crystal.
This is my pizza, and this is garlic bread.
And right away, you'll know that different could be better.
That one's Queenie.
Just watch out you don't step on any of the chickens.
There was a fourth one, but it's broken.
Through the first part of the pandemic and now,
it's really been just a place where they can be themselves. There's zero judgment.
Ava and Kira are identical twins. Kira has alopecia universalis.
Her body just thinks for some reason that her hair follicles are the bad guys, and they attack her hair. Her immune system attacks her hair follicles, and then it causes her hair to fall out.
Stares from others are one thing.
We get approached pretty much everywhere we go, whether people are asking if she's sick, strangers trying to give her money. It's all coming from a very kind place, but I live in a metro area and I don't want her to think it's normal for an old woman to give her $10 in a public bathroom at a restaurant.
All these little things I got from Christmas from Santa.
The Johnsons have planned a pair of fundraisers to get people talking appropriately.
Just saying, hey, this is what's unique about Kira, and alopecia is not contagious, because, you know, a lot of these kids grew up during the pandemic. A lot of people assume bald, cancer, illness, germs, contagious. So we really want to just help educate people, because that is this generations of kids' reality.
This is the sink. It's very dirty.
And maybe not put everyone on awkward footing.
It's much easier to just talk about it, and you don't necessarily have to come up to us and say, hey, my kid was wondering, like, why is your daughter bald? You know, I'd love to have that conversation with people. I'd love to help educate people, because maybe other people with visible differences will start to feel more comfortable as well.
The first event is September 23rd at Studio Alice Hair Salon in Roseville. All proceeds from haircuts that day will go toward Kira's fundraising. And then the following weekend, there's the Walk for Alopecia. The family is hosting that at Becker Park in Crystal.
It was the opening night of high school football Thursday across Minnesota. As is often the case, that means Osseo and Maple Grove playing each other in their season openers.
The Orioles looking to break a 7-game losing streak in the all-time series against the Crimson. After forcing a 3-and-out on Osceo's first series of the game, the Maple Grove offense goes to work. Caden Harney with the pass in the flat to Chuck Lungama, and he breaks one tackle, stays in bounds, and heads to the end zone. It's a 43-yard scoring play, and Maple Grove leads 7-0. Next series for the Crimson on offense, and watch the one-handed catch here by Dylan Vogel. A great grab, Vogel with 7 catches for 103 yards on the night. Later in that drive, it's Harney to Lungama on another short pass, and it goes for another touchdown, this one from 27 yards out. Maple Grove leads 14-0 after one. Late first half, Harney on the rollout sprints to the end zone and scores from 5 yards out. Maple Grove all over Osseo at the half, 28-0 Crimson the score. Third quarter, Lungama scores his 4th touchdown of the night on Harney's 3rd TD pass to extend the Maple Grove lead to 35-0. And the Crimson defense shuts down the Orioles all night. Cedric Buchholz with a sack here from the 4th quarter. Maple Grove wins its 14th straight game. They blank Osseo 35-0.
The Cooper and Park Center football teams came into their season with some key returners and high hopes for improving on last year's records. Jay Wilcox has more on their season opening clash.
The Cooper football team at home as they face Park Center for the first time since 2018. Scoreless in the first quarter when Cooper's Emmanuel Carmo jumps in front of the De Niro Fellows pass, and he's headed the other direction. Carmo goes down the sideline and takes it all the way back, 63 yards for a touchdown. Cooper is up 7-0 after one quarter. Second quarter, and Hawks QB Cameron Fox looks deep and throws a strike to Daylon Gurley for a 46-yard gain to the 1-yard line. It sets up a Fox TD sneak, and Cooper leads 14-0. But in the final seconds of the half, Carmo just gets the punt away with a heavy rush. Tyjon Brooks fields it on the run, and a combination of blocks and speed help him stay in bounds down the sideline. Park Center stuns Cooper with a 58-yard return on the final play of the half. It's 14-7 Hawks at halftime. Same score late in the 4th, and Park Center trying to drive, but the Isaac Davis pass is off the receiver's hands, and Tony Colley with a great catch. He takes it back for another interception return touchdown. Cooper beats Park Center 20-7 in the opener. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The CCX Sports Hall of Fame is now in its 20th year. This weekend, we welcome 4 new members to the Hall. Here's part of what you'll see in this 30-minute special.
He was one of the best all-around athletes to come out of Maple Grove High School. We welcome 2016 Crimson graduate Isaac Collins into the CCX Sports Hall of Fame. Colin started playing varsity baseball at Maple Grove in 8th grade, just a couple of years removed from his first appearance on our channel as a member of the Osseo Maple Grove Storm baseball team that won the 11-year-old state title.
It was just really cool.
His older brother Roman, pictured here, was the first Colin standout at Maple Grove. Roman graduated in 2012, 4 years before Isaac, and also excelled in both baseball and football. He was drafted by the Kansas City Royals in 2015.
Having my older brother and seeing him, go through it with football, baseball, I always had something to look forward to. And I really looked up to those older guys. And when it was just my chance, I just really, took advantage of it and had fun with it.
In addition to baseball, Isaac played 3 years of varsity football at Maple Grove, where he became one of the top running backs and defensive backs in school history.
Watch for our Hall of Fame show airing throughout this weekend here on CCX1, Channel 799, or online at ccxmedia.org. That's all for sports. More CCX News after this.